So it seems that the Adepta Sororitas are losing their Crusaders and Death Cult assassins. The Genestealer cults are graced with a new Benefactors, but also a dual datasheet for Acolytes. We've got a good look at the names of the detachments and a few of the other contents of the codexes, and confirmed prices for a whole bunch of the releases, with the battle forces maybe being a bit better than might have been expected at $215. Let's talk through the news from the Sisters and Genestealers. Hello and welcome back to Warspets Tactics, where today we're taking a further look at Sisters of Battle and Genestealer cults, having a nose through the blurry teased picture of their leaked contents page to show us new datasheets and detachment names, and the prices for the battle forces, characters, and combat patrols that are coming out this week, which do indeed appear to reflect Games Workshop's new raised prices, and they do seem to tally well with the leaked list that we'd seen before. Before we get into it, and while we're on the subject of Genestealer Cult and Sisters of Battle, I thought I'd just briefly mention that the channel giveaway for July will be for your choice of either the Army of Faith or the Biosantic Brew Surge, your choice of one of the two Sisters or Genestealer Cult Battle Force box sets, and there'll be 6 winners for that one. If you'd like to be in for a chance to enter to win that one, check back at the end of the video and I'll talk through the ways to enter. First up, let's take a look at these Codex pages then. We'll start with the Genestealer cults, then go on to the Sisters of Battle, then talk through the price lists for the Battle Force box sets, Codexes, combat patrols, and characters. It seems that in Games Workshop's preview video for the announcement for the week, they've given us a look at the contents pages both for the Genestealers and the Sisters. Perhaps more so than normal, even when maximally zoomed in, it is quite a blurry shot, but you can just about make out enough detail to get by. At least this time, unlike the Chaos Space Marine preview, they're not teasing the contents page from the prior edition's Codex, so at least that gives us a bit more information than they had. For the Genestealer cult, they're a 120-page Codex, and it looks like they've gained 2 new datasheets compared with their index rules. I think most people were mainly just expecting that they'd gain the Benefactors as the new model, but it seems that as well as that, they've also split the Acolyte Hybrids datasheet into 2 different ones, one with hand flamers and one with auto pistols. I guess for some reason choosing that they specifically are going to be a unit that gets a lot more value out of getting hand flamers. Maybe that version of the unit might have a higher points cost versus the auto pistol one, as there's a chance for the 2 different units to get 2 different types of special rules. I think it would be kind of cool if maybe they differentiated them with their special rules to have one of them more adept at ranged and demo charge warfare, and one of them being a bit better with the heavy mining melee weapons. At least in competitive play, it's basically demo charges all the way rather than the more melee role that they used to have, and it would be quite nice that if with a split datasheet they were able to make both viable again. In any case, we'll be fun to see what the results of that are. We know the Benefactors is basically going to be an anti-tank psyker with big psychic shooting attacks that can take down enemy armor and hide within units, which could be kind of fun. But perhaps the only maybe minor disappointment is that there's no Brood Brothers datasheet here. I was kind of wondering if their new Kill Team kit might get a specific Brood Brothers datasheet in the main codex. Maybe something like a Veteran Guardsman style datasheet with the exact choice of war gear that squad can take with the Kill Team parts, and just count them along with the Brood Brothers for all rules purposes. It seems though that kit is literally just going to be used for representing the Astra Militarum datasheets for the Genestealer cult, unless they spring any other surprises on us. I did think there was always a pretty reasonable chance that that would happen, to be fair. It was the exact same case with the old Brood Brothers kit after all. Otherwise, seems like there's no datasheets lost, though I wouldn't really have been expecting any of them to go away given that they're all fairly recent plastic kits. I think the only thing that they've lost in recent times was access to that tectonic frag drill they used to have, their fortification piece that went away. Otherwise, we can get a very blurry look at the detachment names. The quality on the words really are kind of bad. You can recognise words that you already know, though it's hard to read new things that could be a bit ambiguous. It seems that the core one is being renamed the Host of Ascension. Previously in the index it was the Ascension Day detachment, so I guess that'll have much the similar sort of same rules, jumping in and out of reserve and hitting the enemy very hard when they do so. Next up, there's a Xeno something congregation. I did notice that on the Genestealer cult subreddit, a user called Cassandora had been taking a look at them and trying to decipher the things, and they reckoned it might be Xeno Prophet congregation, which feels like it would be on brand for them. In the last teaser preview they said that there might be a Horde style detachment. Maybe that one could be hordes of acolytes and neophytes and character focused maybe. Perhaps lean a bit into their undying loyalty type thing. Next up is the one that we've heard about in the Biosanctic Brood Surge, They said that that was going to be melee, pure strain, and aberrant focused. Then it seems that the Brood Brother one is called the Brood Brother Auxiliar. That's the one that they said you can take Brood Brothers as 50% of your army list. And then the last one looks like it's possibly the Outrider Claw. Can't be 100% sure that it's Outrider, but it looks like it's out something. Again, in the teasers for that one, we know that that one's likely to be a mobility-focused one, things like bikes, ridge runners, and maybe transports as well. Maybe kind of rusted clawed Genestealer cult biker gangs reinterpreted. Otherwise, on the contents page, there's just a few other bits. The new combat patrol with the jackals and the ridge runner is called the Claw of Ascension, and the Crusade rules have something towards building a path to ascension, no doubt delivering your planet into the clutches of the cult with a great uprising, and summoning the oncoming star gods. Overall, mainly quite interesting stuff. A couple of new datasheets, and 5 different detachments, all of which sound at least fairly interesting. Hopefully Games Workshop make them so with the rules. Moving on, we've got the Adepta Sororitas, who have the same thing. They're a 129-page codex, so a bit of a longer book, though they do have a few more units. They've got a new datasheet for the jump pack Caroness, as you'd expect, and then it looks like they've lost 3 datasheets overall. It seems that both the Missionary and the Preacher datasheets all got consolidated into just one Ministorum Priest. Given that the plastic model they're releasing is that one with the Zealot's Vindictor, I think there's at least a reasonable chance that that might be the only loadout that they can take now, though I guess we'll wait and see there. Otherwise, and as with a lot of things in 10th edition, Games Workshop have cut some non-plastic options. Both the Death Cult Assassins and the Crusaders have both been removed. Kind of a shame on both of those fronts, as they've been a thing for a really long time. Hopefully at some point Games Workshop decides to give them an actual proper release, maybe similar to Arco-Flagellants. A 10-man squad of Crusaders I think would be really quite good fun. Otherwise, when we do get the final rules, I wouldn't be too surprised to see some minimum size squads go up to have to be fielded as a maximum size squad. Specifically the Repentia, the Arco-Flagellants, and the Penitent Engine. All of those can be fielded in quite small units now due to the existence of the Combat Patrol. Now the old Combat Patrol for Adepta Sororitas has been removed and replaced by the new one. I wouldn't be too surprised if you have to field Arco-Flagellants and Repentia in 10s only, and Penitent Engines and Mortifiers in 2s. Not 100% confirmed, but seems at least somewhat likely. Next up for the detachments, we knew that they had 4. It seems that the Hallowed Martyrs is staying unchanged, and otherwise we've got the Penitent Host, the one for Penitent Engines, Arco-Flagellants, and Repentia, the Army of Faith with reported buffs for being near Seraphim and Zephyrim, and then the name of the Melter Flamer Bolter one is the Bringers of Flame. That one seems all very appropriate, and I really hope that they don't make the rules of that one super weak. I feel like Sisters of Battle players will be praying to the Emperor that their codex gets a bit more love and fun compared with the other Imperium ones of the last 3 releases. Otherwise, the new Combat Patrol with the Sacrosancts and the Arco-Flagellants in is called the Sanctuary Guardians, and the Crusade rules have some sort of mechanics to make a living saint as your Caroness, which does sound kind of fun. Overall, a bit of a shame to lose some units that I'm sure lots of players have in their collection. Far better if Games Workshop just actually bothers to make them replaced by plastic kits, though it's not impossible they could come back at some update in the future. Moving on, we go from rules to prices. It seems that the new Battleforce box sets for the Army of Faith and the Biosantic Brood Surge are both $215, so that's roughly going to equate to £135 or €175 from Games Workshop. The reason for that price is that Games Workshop basically has 2 different Battleforce prices they seem to be going with at the moment. The lower one that, say, the Custodians and Orcs came out at, and then the higher one that the Chaos Space Marines came out at. I believe that this one represents basically the pricing of the lower costed one, but with the price increase factored in now. And as it goes, it does mean that these box sets are maybe a tiny bit cheaper than they might have been otherwise. Plugging that quickly into the cost of the kit separately at the moment. If it was indeed $215, then that's be around about 38% off the kits that are contained within as they're currently priced. Currently it looks like they're about $340, and I guess at least in theory land, after all the price separately has all gone up by 3 to 5%, that discount will be a bit better than it looks here. As it goes, 38% I think is solid enough. It's better than most of the Combat Patrol box sets, though kind of level with the upcoming Genestealer cult one. And broadly, reaction to this was alright. A fairly good mix of units, and nice to get some actual Genestealers in a Genestealer cult discount box set for once. As I said on the previous video, maybe a bit more helpful for newer players who don't have too many Aberrants or Goliaths though. At the same pricing, the Sisters of Battle is a slightly worse deal overall. looks like at around $215. The sisters would equate to around about 31% off, so more sort of in line with Games Workshop's Combat Patrol offerings as opposed to above it. This is the one with the Canoness, Spam's Jump Pack Troops, and Exorcist. And it basically does mean that it does get you a discount if you did want this many jump troops, though not all Sisters players would necessarily want that, and you don't get that many models for the money as well. Again, bear in mind that the percentage discount would get a little bit better with time, I suppose, due to Games Workshop upping the cost on these in the near future, though obviously that's hardly any sort of feels good change, and I'm not sure Games Workshop wins many bonus points for upping prices to make other battle forces seem like good deals. Overall though, not terrible given that the pricing could have been the same as the Chaos Space Marine one, so a little bit better than otherwise. As with the other battle forces, I've got no idea how many Games Workshop are actually going to produce, likely not all that many unfortunately, though if you were trying to pick them up, feel free to check out the discount retailers down in the video description. If you are certain that you want to go for one of these, then on launch day I'd check with discount retailers quickly, and if they are all sold out, probably go to the Games Workshop web store. These ones links down in the video description have somewhere between 10 and 20% off around the world, and do go to help support Auspex Tactics a bit with anything bought through them. Here are the release times: midnight in the USA and Canada, 10 AM in the UK, and midday in Australia Eastern Time. As always, a big thank you to any of you guys picking stuff up through those links if and when you do. It does go to help support the channel and video creation. Otherwise, for the prices, the combat patrols do appear to be at that rumoured price increase: £100, €130, or 168 US dollars. Never particularly great to see discount boxes go up in price. I feel like these ones aren't going to be enormously feel-good releases. Both of them are arguably just a bit overall worse than the ones that preceded them in the majority of people's eyes. Though admittedly do change up the unit mix and do provide a discount on models to newer players, so I'm sure they'll still be worth it, but maybe just a little bit less so than the both quite interesting combat patrols they had before. After the two, I feel like the Genestealer cults have probably done a little bit better with their one. Getting 2 squads of acolytes in that was a fairly nice bonus. The Sisters one I think is usable enough as a starter core to a force, but maybe not the most interesting in the world versus all the variety in the previous one. It seems that in the price rises, the codexes don't appear to be going up unless they give us any surprises. Still looks like they're £35, €45, or $60. I guess a small mercy amongst the price rises there. For the character releases, there's a lot of variation. The new Minister and Priest with the Zealot's Vindicta is one of the cheap offerings, or at least as far as you can say any Games Workshop character is cheap, which isn't very much. In any case, they're £21, $35, and €27, so basically the same as the Cultist Firebrand that they released separately from Blackstone Fortress like this one. Otherwise, the Orc Big Mech is maybe a little bit pricier than people might have liked. £31.50, $52, or €41. I guess he is a slightly more big and imposing character miniature compared with the average one, though I do think his model is particularly fun. And the Custodes unique shield captain that isn't one of the ones from the Wardens or the Custodian Guard is £26, $42, or €34. This one's the new standard pricing for things like, say, Space Marine captains, the Death Guard Lord of Virulence, or the biggish characters like that. Finally, for a bunch of the paper releases, it looks like they're all the same pricing. That new Pariah Nexus mission deck, the Pariah Nexus objective markers, and the datasheet cards for Sisters and Genestealer cults looks like they're all going to be around £19, €24, or 35 US dollars. Looks like for the updated mission deck it is basically going to be a kind of similar cost to what they were charging for those paper chapter approved books in previous editions. Overall, a bit of a mixed bag there. Obviously goes without saying that Warhammer's just generally fairly expensive, but compared with Games Workshop's normal, the battle forces are maybe a little bit better than they might otherwise be if they'd gone for the higher pricing. I suppose nice to see no increase in cost on the codexes, and maybe a little bit disappointing that the Big Mech is quite a lot more in cost, though I guess his model is a bit more big and fun than most. Otherwise, for the rules teasers things, I feel like it was broadly good news for the Genestealer cults getting an extra bonus datasheet and 5 detachments that seem kind of fun. As always, not the best for anyone that loses units though. Would have been nice if Games Workshop had gotten around to updating the Death Cult Assassins and the Crusaders for the Sisters. In any case, look forward to hearing your thoughts down in the comments below. What do you make of the teased rules content and prices? Finally, to cycle back to that giveaway I mentioned earlier, the channel's July giveaway will be for 6 channel viewers to either get one of the Army of Faith boxes or the Biosanctic Brood Surge boxes. Each person can choose the one of their choice. As ever, there's 2 equal ways to enter, both of them links down in the video description. Either you can support the channel on Patreon for any amount. That's the main thing that allows me to do this as my full-time thing, so any support is massively appreciated, and that gets you automatic entry into the regular prize giveaways each and every month. I do like to try and keep some fun stuff coming. Otherwise, as a free alternative, you can support the channel via social media instead. To do that, you subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the Facebook page that's linked down in the video description, and then to actually enter the draw, respond to the post that appears on the Facebook page on the 1st of July. That post appears at midnight UK time, and to enter, just respond to that with a photo of any 40k mini or imagery, and your name and the date handwritten within the same photo to try and deter bots and spammers. I then put every entry equally into the draw, maximum 1 entry per person, and plug them into a random number generator, picking out the winners, in this case 6 of them, and they get announced in the channel update video that appears around the 4th of July. The box sets will be dispatched when I've received my order of them. Hopefully that should be ahead of time though, given that they're being announced for pre-order this weekend. In any case, check the links out down in the video description if you'd like to enter for that in either way. There will be further giveaways each and every month. The Warhammer Titan winners will be announced within the next 48 hours. That one's the giveaway for June. In any case, look forward to hearing your thoughts on the prices and the teasers down in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics if you'd like to see more like this. I'll certainly cover any rules previews or teasers here on the channel and do full reviews of both codexes once we get them. In any case, a massive thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.